My name is Jessie Woodworth, and I am in Dr. Jara Nee Warner Green's leadership class, Foundations of Personal and Professional Leadership. For our most recent assignment, we had the opportunity to interview a leader in our lives, not an immediate family member, but someone in the university or in an organization that we're in that's been a leader for a long time and has the experience to be able to speak to what we are learning about. I chose John Lemmermen. He is the farm manager at Waterman Dairy Farm, and he has been for 23 and a half years. He's been leading students and educating, doing research, and he's been an amazing leader for all of that time. 23 of those years have been spent as the Buckeye Dairy Club advisor. So he has been an amazing help to students for a long, long time. I chose John because he's highly spoken of, he's highly respected in the College of Food, Ag, and Environmental Sciences, and I'm sure in anyone that he knows, it's impossible to not like John. Also, I had access to him. I was doing a project for another class as well, doing a feature on Waterman Dairy Farm's construction and what they're going to be doing in the next decade to provide help for the multi-species facility that is hopefully taking place, fingers crossed. So before the interview, I definitely saw John as a manager, as someone who delegated and made sure the job got done. He was very quiet, but very kind. No matter who he talked to, he always had a smile, and he was very behind the scenes. Well, it turns out I was wrong only on a couple of those counts. He is very kind. During the interview, he spoke mostly to the importance of flexibility. We talked about his leadership style. Now, John's style is very laid back, and it is that behind the scenes sort of style, but he's the driving force behind everything that happens on that farm every day. He's the one that introduced new milking systems 3 times. They are on the 3rd parlor of John's career that is at Waterman Dairy Farm right now. He's currently working to get the entire barns renovated to make it a multi-species facility that can house beef cattle, dairy cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, chickens, the rest of the poultry, whatever, horses that really need somewhere to go, and they will make that easier by putting it all in one place so students can learn even better. As for his leadership style, he really talks about progress, making progress, being flexible. I've noticed that he's an extremely responsible person. Even when he was out of town and I wasn't able to get in direct contact with him, he found a way to get back with me. And he made it a point to make sure that he talked to me and got all of the time out of his day that I needed, which was amazing. I've noticed that he was very adaptive, and he was mostly in the technical area is where he thrived. Before the interview, I actually thought he was just technical, but it turns out during the interview I learned that he's both, well, all 3 actually, technical, conceptual, and social. He has all of those qualities about him. And now I know he's not just a manager, he is most definitely a leader. He's extremely adaptive and is able to help students in any way that he possibly can. That's his favorite part. Well, obviously the cows are up there too, but he wouldn't do what he did if it wasn't for the students. After the interview, I have no doubt in my mind, this man is a leader. This man is probably one of my favorite people at the moment. He's shy, but he's very personable, and if you talk to him for more than a minute, you know that he's a good man, and he's the kind of person that you want to spend time with and be in the same room with. He really connects to his students, he supports them, and he listens to them. He listens to suggestions, ideas, and he puts them into motion and allows you to make your own way through the dairy science and Waterman Dairy Farm industry. You get to learn what does and doesn't work from firsthand experience, not him just telling you that's not going to work because of A, B, and C. He lets you do it, make the mistakes, and then he helps guide you through the recovery process. He encourages his students. It's amazing. Just from students walking in and out of the office that we were sitting in doing the interview, he was giving advice from the chair and then going back and talking to me and then talking to students more, and it was interesting to see his leadership style in play as he was doing it. Also, I learned that he is not only a legitimate leader in a position of power, but he is a referent leader. The students that are under him and work with him are extremely grateful to have John as their manager and their leader. And I haven't heard one bad thing said about him since talking to the students at the farm and the assistant dairy herd manager, who was a student of his and a graduate student of his and is now in his peer group and the assistant manager to him. Some of the key statements that John made during the interview were, the cows are top priority. Everything else will be there tomorrow. The cows and the health, their well-being, their happiness are really the most important part. Things like a leak in the roof or some new repair that you want to do, that can all be done tomorrow. The most important things need to get done first. He was very adamant about that. And I feel like that can apply to a lot of different aspects of our lives. The folding of the laundry and grocery shopping and running errands will be there tomorrow. Today you need to take care of the most important things. Another thing that John really stressed to me is that you need to listen to be able to learn. He's a very quiet man and was very uncomfortable talking about himself, but as I got more into his head and started learning more about him, I realized that he doesn't like to talk because that takes away his ability to listen. And he really enjoys listening and learning and is able to take all the information he takes in a day and process it and apply it to his daily life. So that was my interview with John Lemmermen. I appreciate the time, Internet, and we will see you next time.